for you, madame.
Hello, thank you for joining me again today. This is Jeanette Bussard from Sewciety Boutique in Bluffton, South Carolina. This is my fourth and last tutorial on how to bind quilts by machine using my binding miter tool. In this video, we'll talk about how to press your binding up and prepare it for top stitching. We'll also prepare those mitered corners with a little bit of hand stitching to prepare those as well. Now I know hand stitching takes a little bit of time, but honestly it will save you time when you go to do the machine top stitching. We'll also talk about machine setup, and we'll discuss presser feet that you may choose to use to do your top stitching. The choice of presser feet can greatly affect your results. We'll also talk about the top stitching itself and how to focus your eye on the presser foot to get consistent results. So with that being said, let's begin. Okay, I am at my ironing board, and the first thing that we need to do is press all of our binding up toward the seam allowance. I'm going to use a steam iron, and I want to get into these corners really well and press all of this up. Let's see if I can get that any better. There we go. And I'm going to continue around and do this on all four sides. I'm really pushing the point of my iron into the corner of this binding. All right, I've gone all the way around. That's all I need to do at my ironing board. All right, before I top stitch down my binding, I like to prepare the corners with just a little bit of hand stitching. I know hand stitching is a four-letter word for some folks, but it really does help to improve your accuracy on these corners. And it just makes stitching around the corner so much easier. So I have chosen a pink thread to match my binding. And the better the color match of your thread, the less your stitches are going to show. So I have already threaded a needle, and again, being a creature of habit, I usually fold this side over first, and then fold the left-hand side over, and I get this corner matched up, and then I just hold it there with my thumbnail. And then I bring my needle in, and I want to get into this fold right here so that I'm burying the knot. All right, so you can't see my knot anymore. It's buried in that fold. So I'm just going to take a tiny stitch on the right-hand side and bring my needle up into the left-hand side. Now the key to invisible stitches is to just pick up just a thread or two on the right-hand side, and then a thread or two on the left-hand side. So you want to take the tiniest bite of fabric that you can. And I usually get a corner done with, about 4 stitches. Tiny little bite on the right, tiny little bite on the left, and that fold, and pull your thread up. And I want to get right into the very tip of the corner. All right, once I reach the end, I'm just going to give it a little tack, you know, with 2 or 3 stitches in the same spot. Actually, I think 2 is probably enough, but I'm doing 3 here. Now, this is enough to stitch around and get your binding attached, and get your binding top stitched all the way around. If this was going into a quilt show, you would want to come to the other side and hand stitch this miter down as well. The judges will notice. So if you're planning to put your quilt in a quilt show, I recommend stitching both sides. But for time's sake and the purpose of this video, I'm just going to stitch this one side. Now once I've done this full length of this miter, I'm going to go ahead and insert my needle into the corner, and I just want to bury my thread. So I'm going to bring the needle out again, about 3/4 of an inch or an inch away, and pull it up if I can get a hold of it. And then snip my thread. So that way I'm not cutting my thread off really short, and it's a lot less likely to come undone. All right, so that is it for each corner. We're going to do that in each corner. I will continue. I will go ahead and sew the other 3 corners, and after that we will be ready to go to the sewing machine. I would like to talk about the setup of my machine for just a moment. I am using pink thread in the top and the bobbin of my machine because my binding and my backing are both pink. So I'm using the same color, top and bottom. Oftentimes the backing is a different color than my binding, and I would use a color in the bobbin that best matches the backing, because this stitching is going to hit in the backing. It's not going to hit the binding on the back. It's going to hit within the back. So you need that to match as best as possible. I am using a Metler 50 weight thread. It's just an all-purpose 50 weight thread. I think either 50 weight or 60 weight would work just fine, either polyester or cotton. An 80 weight thread is something to consider in the bobbin. That would again be a little less conspicuous on the back, because 80 weight is of course lighter weight than 50 and 60. So you could certainly consider using that in your bobbin. Also, on my presser foot, I like to use my 1/4 inch foot, which comes with my Juki, and I'll talk about how I use it in just a little bit. But the important thing about which presser foot that you decide to use, and it's going to be personal preference, and all machines come with all different kinds of feet, so I can't give you a set in stone answer on that as to which one will work best for you. But I can talk about a few popular brands and some of the feet that I have that you could possibly use. The first one I have here is, this is a, I believe this was on a Janome. This is a Stitch in the Ditch foot, and it has a flange on it, as you can see, a metal flange. This one would work great, and it gives you that flange as a guide as you stitch, so you can butt that flange right up against your binding and stitch very straight with this. You would need to move your needle over to the right about a 1/16 of an inch. You want to be a 1/16 of an inch off of center on this foot, because that flange is right on center. So you want your stitching to be about a 1/16 of an inch in from the edge of your binding. This is a blind hem foot. This came on my Juki. It's a presser foot D on my Juki. But most machines come with a blind hem foot. So this is another one that you might be able to use. It also has a flange on it that you could use to guide you along the edge of your binding. The flange on this one actually has, I don't know if you can see it very well, but where the needle comes down, the flange actually bends around the needle, and we need to be to the right of that. So you would still have to move your needle over to the right. Again, you're going to be about a 16th of an inch right of center, but you definitely need to be far enough over to the right that you're not going to hit that flange with your needle. This one is an older Bernina foot. It's the regular style number 1, which I think is their just regular sewing foot. I would use this one similar to the way I use my 1/4 inch foot on my Juki. I would focus my eye on this edge on the foot as I'm stitching, so that I'm keeping the fold of that binding right on the edge there. Now this is wider than my 1/4 inch foot on my Juki. So for this foot, I would move the needle over to the left a little bit, so that again, I'm about a 16th of an inch away from the edge of my binding. On my Juki 1/4 inch foot, I am going to focus my eye right on this edge of the foot. I want to keep my the fold of my fabric, or the fold of my binding, right on that edge. And because that's not on center, when the needle comes down, I am about a 16th of an inch away from that fold. I'm going to begin stitching now. I will not backstitch when I start stitching. I will do that when I come around to the end, when I've come all the way around. I will do just a few stitches of backstitch. I don't want a big wad of thread where I started and stopped, because it's too obvious. But for now, I will not backstitch. When I get to a corner, which is soon, I want to make sure that my needle is down right in the corner. We'll see that in just a moment. Again, I'm focusing my eye right on that part of the foot, so I'm stitching straight. Using a stiletto is a good idea in the corner if you have one. Oops. Right there, I've got my needle down so I can pivot right in the corner. Put my foot back down, and again, I want to make sure I'm aligned with this part of the foot, that the fold of my binding is aligned with the part of the foot, and I will continue sewing. Now what you will notice, again, on the back, I am intentionally not sewing on the binding. I am sewing into the back. If you wiggle on and off, if you have a lot of wiggling and you're coming onto the binding sometimes, it can really kind of look messy, especially if you have 2 different colors of thread. It really shows up. So I try to stay within the back of the quilt. And I will continue and go all the way around. Now you will have some raveling to wrangle, I guess. You just make sure that it's tucked nicely underneath your binding as you go. And you also want to make sure as you pull your binding over, you want this to be sort of taut but not tight. You want to fill your binding. So I just want to make sure that I'm butted up right against the edge of the quilt, so my binding is filled. started. So I'm just going to take another couple of stitches and back stitch just a few. And I am done. My binding is finished. And if I look on the other side, you can see we created a line of straight stitching on the back, but it's not conspicuous at all. I think it looks great. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments section and I will address those just as soon as I can. I certainly hope that this series has been a help and a blessing to you. Until next time, happy stitching!